to Beyond the Ballpark from Hurrdat 1. I'm Christina, here with a guide to Omaha, which makes this episode especially important because the foodie scene in Omaha, I would say, is not a well-kept secret. That is a point of pride for locals, especially as all the restaurants, bars, and institutions around our city continue to gain national notoriety and draw visitors from around the country to see what it is that Omaha has to offer. So there is no better expert on the matter, of course, than Dan Hoppin of Restaurant Hoppin, which is another Hurrdat 1 production. So Dan, thank you for being here and talking about this very important topic.
It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you for that very glossy introduction that I do not deserve, but I appreciate it.
I would have to disagree because, listen, if you put in the hours of eating all the food, drinking all the drinks, you have to have some notoriety and earn, of course, some credit for it, too.
Fair enough.
It's tough work.
But the reason that I'm so inspired to do that kind of plays into what you said. Like, Omaha's food scene, and I know I'm biased because I love Omaha, but it is really starting to gain some traction nationally. Yeah. It's growing. We're getting James Beard nominations and James Beard Award finalists. Yeah. We're getting recognized in national articles about like the up and coming food cities in America.
Amazing.
It's really exciting to see what's happening here.
Absolutely. And, you know, something that we, I think, again, hold as a point of pride in Omaha, but maybe if you're visiting, you don't necessarily have that knowledge too. So it is important that, to be able to provide a guide to say to people, hey, here are the spots that you absolutely must check out, that people visiting from bigger cities, celebrities even, have touted as some of the best restaurants they've ever eaten in, and they're right here in Omaha. So with that, Dan, I want to ask you, what makes a restaurant in Omaha great to you? What are you actually looking for when you maybe not judge a place, but when you decide what is the best of the best, some of the qualifiers that seem to be in the things that you look to in your repertoire?
Sure. I think you kind of know it when you experience it. Like if you go and you're just having a good time and the food is delicious and you're vibing with the server and you just feel comfortable in the environment, that's kind of the definition of a great restaurant to me. Everything coming together to create a great experience. It's not a great meal. It's not just great hospitality, but it's the food, it's the service, it's the atmosphere, it's everything coming together. And when you can tell that a restaurant has put intentionality into every one of those aspects to create a holistic customer experience, that's when you know that you found a great restaurant. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I mean, the food, of course, is important, but atmospheric is a thing that some of the folks in this city really have seemed to figure out, and to provide really just from start to finish, excellent service, Midwest hospitality, along with, gosh, if you can add great food to that, you're really cooking with gas. Pun intended. Yeah.
So I want to give a great example to that.
Please.
My wife and I, our first visit to V. Mertz, which is a restaurant in downtown Omaha.
Special, yep.
It was probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point. The food is spectacular. It's on point. But before we ate a single bite of food, we fell in love with that restaurant because it's down like in the passageway in the old market. So like you go down there and there's no windows, you can't see the streets or anything.
Sure.
You are in a secluded area. And I remember Sarah like looked at me and she's like, I feel like we're on vacation.
Right.
And this is before we even had any of the great food. Like the way that restaurant made us feel, combined with the amazing food, combined with the great service, we were hooked immediately, and we knew that was a place that we were going to go back to time and time again.
Yeah, and I wish there was a better way to describe this, because sometimes we describe these experiences as being like not like you're feeling in Omaha, right? But it does kind of encapsulate what the Omaha restaurant and food scene offers, which is kind of these otherworldly, other city opportunities to try different fairs, to have different experiences. So I couldn't agree more that that's a really special spot and a treasure of downtown Omaha. But that kind of gets us into what we're talking about this episode, which is the best restaurants in Omaha. Now, this is for if you're visiting our city or if you live in a different part of town, but maybe you're looking to venture, if you live out west and you want to go out east, if you are south and want to go north. We really thought about all the different spots that a person must be able to visit when they're in Omaha or venturing out to dinner. So you've put a lot of intentionality into this list, and I want to know, first of all, are you thinking about this in any particular order, or is this just some of the best restaurants that a person must get to if they're looking to dine out in Omaha?
So I wanted to start with some restaurants in downtown Omaha or in the Old Market area, because that's where the College World Series is located, obviously. So a lot of people are going to be staying down there and probably want to eat around there as well. But I'm also, once we get through those, I wanted to just shout out some other restaurants in Omaha because they're worth driving for. So even if you are staying downtown, or if you're listening to this and you live in Omaha and you're just like, I want to shake up my routine, I go to 3 spots, where else should I go? These are some of my absolute favorites that I will put my stamp on and say, if you go here, you're going to have a good time.
And again, you've put in the work, so people should not take this list or these recommendations lightly.
Oh, thank you.
So Dan, in proximate to the ballpark, if somebody's looking, let's say they've got their fill of peanuts and popcorn, which are also, great ballpark fare. What are some of the places that they absolutely must visit in North Downtown Omaha? Okay,
2 absolute must-visit places that are on the opposite ends of the spectrum that I got to shout out. The Boiler Room and Block 16. So you've got high-end date night spot, and then you've got sandwich burrito shop. But both are equally delicious, and both will give you kind of that special feeling like we were talking about. So first, the Boiler Room. I mean, just exquisite menu. Chef Tim Nicholson, he has been nominated for multiple James Beard Awards. He's been a finalist, huge honors. Their menu changes a couple times every week because they're working with such hyper seasonal, hyper local ingredients, and the things that he does with those dishes are incredible.
I didn't realize it changed so frequently too, but it makes sense because, to your point, it's based on availability, which is kind of the chef's dream, right? To look at what ingredients are seasonal and available, and then to build a menu off that, which is to have runway to do that's really special.
And for a chef, it keeps things fresh. You're not just making the same thing all the time. You're getting to express yourself creatively, and that's something that he thrives in. But maybe what I love most about that restaurant is a lot of restaurants have open kitchens now, so you can kind of see and watch your food get cooked. But at the Boiler Room, the entire top floor, the kitchen is down on the bottom floor, the entire top floor, if you sit up there, you can actually look down into the kitchen and you can watch Tim Expo on the line. You can see your steak get cooked. Just don't see how much butter they use to cook it. You can see all the sauces being made.
Good.
Yes, it makes it delicious.
Precisely. If you don't have knowledge of that, you're exactly correct too. And talk about high stakes as well, because listen, it's a kitchen. Things are frantic. If things go wrong, you got a front row seat too. But that is what is so incredible about Boiler Room too, is it always seems to go right.
So the Boiler Room is fantastic. That's a place where the prices might be a little bit higher. It's a little bit more high end. You're going to have to make a reservation, but I have had nothing less than exemplary meals there.
Yeah.
Block 16 is the complete opposite, but in the best ways. It's somewhere super casual, obviously no reservations. You're just getting in line. You're having great food. It's probably going to be $10 or $15 for your meal, but it's just spectacular. And they come up with so they've got a great regular menu. They do burgers, they do sandwiches, they do burritos, but they also come up with a new special every single day. So in their 14 years of existence, they've had, I don't even remember, 12 or 13,000 daily specials. It's insane.
Can I tell you about...
Please do.
When you talk about the specials, I would be remiss if I did not shout out, they did a lobster roll there once that changed my life for the better. So this was when they did, because what's so cool about our local chefs too, and you'll have probably better insight on this as well, but when they do pop-up events, they still, outside of their kitchen, bring their A game. And this was when they did a pop-up in downtown, and the line was around the block to get this lobster roll, and I waited in it, and I would do it again.
I was there that day with you. I don't think we'd met yet at that point, but I still have that photo on my phone from that day because I remember that lobster roll.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how they do it, but mad geniuses there too. So you're correct. Their specials, their regular menu, incredible, but their specials are really something to bring you back for more too.
Yeah, it's a really cool place because the chef owners there, Paul and Jess Urban, they came up in fine dining. That's their background. But then when they were looking to start their own restaurant, like the only place that they could find that was available that they could afford was this old Euro shop. And so they decided to open up there, and they're basically taking like all the intentionality, all the thought, all the high-end ingredients that you experience in fine dining and putting it into a sandwich.
Amazing.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It really is like poetry what they do there. Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And I think I recall, so with Boiler Room, when Will Arnett was shooting Nebraska, that Alexander Payne film, I seem to recall seeing something that he'd been to Boiler Room and would put it against any restaurant that he'd been to in New York City and beyond. So what a feather in their cap. But similarly, I mean, food critics have been to Block 16, written about it in national publications, and just were blown away that they were able to have this exemplary dining experience just in our fair city, which is really cool to see.
Right. So, if you're in or around the ballpark for the College World Series, those are two places that I would absolutely recommend.
If you only got 2 nights, those are the ones to hit. But also, you had some other recommendations for downtown Omaha. So, if you're visiting, the Old Market in like our city's urban core is kind of our historic part of the city, but also with great new restaurants and old restaurants, not old, I should say, historied restaurants.
Yes.
That have been around for a while and with good reason. So if somebody's looking to branch out a little bit, what are the recommendations that you would have for them?
Okay, so everybody loves pizza, right? You got to have a good pizza spot.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And right across from the ballpark, it's probably a 4 or 5 minute walk. Mm-hmm. There's a place called Dolomiti.
Oh, the best. Yep.
It's
amazing.
Fantastic. They do what's called Neapolitan pizza. So they kind of take the best from Neapolitan pizza and New York style pizza and fuse them together. So you get this really like crispy crust, but it also like the outer dough is like kind of chewy and soft. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And another thing I love about that place, honestly, like as much as I love their pizzas, what they'll do is they offer sandwiches where they'll just take their pizza dough, fold it in half, and stuff a bunch of sandwich ingredients in there. So you're having like a pizza sandwich. I don't know why more people don't do that because it's amazing.
Yeah, what a rebrand too, to be like, you can eat a whole pizza this way because it's just one sandwich.
Yeah, it's just a sandwich. Yeah, you feel like you're being healthy as you eat an entire pizza dough.
Yeah, and you know what? Their cocktail menu is also great.
Yes.
I happened to stumble into Dolomiti during Berkshire Weekend, which happens in May, and it did seem that the out-of-towners had also found that spot. Yeah, which is great because you want everybody to have that wonderful culinary experience in Omaha. But also, sometimes you're like, it's hard to wait in line for a thing that you know you love too. But did I wait in line? I sure did. So.
And it's worth waiting in line for.
It's worth waiting in line, yeah.
Plus, you eat at Dolomiti, you've got Coneflower Creamery, which is some of the best ice cream on planet Earth. I will stand by that.
Right, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Like 3 steps away.
Amazing. Yeah. So maybe pizza's not your bag. What other recommendations do you have for visitors?
Okay. 2 other kind of nice lunch spots that are kind of connected, actually. The first one is Kitchen Table. So this would be a great breakfast or lunch option because they have amazing breakfast sandwiches. But Kitchen Table's really special because these chefs, they make everything themselves. I'm talking they make their own ketchup, they make their own hot sauce, they bake their own bread. If they serve something to you, they made it themselves. It is so inspiring to see, and you can taste that. It's quote unquote simple food. It's sandwiches and salads and bowls, nothing that seems super high end, but when you take a bite, you're just like, oh, somebody put some serious love.
Yeah, there's something about knowing that human hands, right, have touched every piece of a meal that you're enjoying. It does, it comes across in the way it tastes and the experience that you have, and makes a really, to your point, a quick dining experience, but one that is really exceptional
and memorable
in the Old Market.
Yeah. And then connected to that place, because it was started by two employees from Kitchen Table. They grew up with these chefs, and they grew up in this restaurant learning that, hey, you don't go to the store and buy it, you make it yourself.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, they started their own restaurant called Dirty Birds.
Of course,
and they are now like the fried chicken kings of Omaha. You want fried chicken or a fried chicken sandwich? That is where you go. They are going to make some incredible food, and I guarantee you will not leave hungry there. I mean, we're talking fried chicken sandwiches the size of a small child. Like, they will fill you up and probably put you in a nice little food coma for a couple hours.
I was going to say, maybe that's one that you, if you have an evening game that you're attending, maybe you catch a nap between that one. Because to your point, their sandwiches are like the size of a forearm. It's unbelievable that so much food can be crammed in between two pieces of bread. I don't know. Maybe they are scientists there too. We should study their ways.
So what about you, Christina? What are a couple downtown restaurants? You mentioned you went to Dolomiti and loved it. What are a couple downtown restaurants that you find yourself going to again and again that the good people should know about?
Yeah, especially because when you're in the old market, it's such a great opportunity to park at a spot and wander a little bit too.
Yes.
And for that reason, sometimes I'll peek in to see what looks like it's available, what's not. And it just depends on the evening too, what kind of luck you have getting into a spot. But I do love Les Bouillons.
Oh, of course,
I think they have an incredible, also ever-changing menu. It seems like you'd be a better expert on this than me, but they are French.
Yep. You got it.
Fusion, perhaps, or French traditional.
They're pretty traditional French.
Okay. Every time I've eaten there, it's been an incredible experience. To your point with your initial qualifying factors, food, atmosphere, service, Les Bouillons does a wonderful job in the old market too. Another spot, I love Mediterranean food. Another spot I love is Cleo's.
Oh, yes.
Which is, pretty new on the scene, I'd say. But they really have, when you say a place that looks beautiful, takes a lovely picture, but also provides you with an excellent meal, Cleo seems to hit the nail on the head.
Yes. And here's how I would sum up Cleo. The simplest menu item that they have is pita. Just pita bread.
Yeah.
And that creating those pitas is like a 4-day process. And then they have this like giant oven that is dedicated to making pita bread that they use. I mean, so
I don't know if I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the easiest thing that they have, and they put that much time and intentionality into it. And their pitas are unbelievable, especially when you have them with their various dips. But like that kind of tells you what type of just dedication these people have to great food, that they are going to spend that much time on such a simple food item. What are they going to do with your beef kebabs? What are they going to do with your lamb shank?
Yeah.
Like, they're going to go all out and make this food absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and they really, again, another spot where it's clear that they put a lot of thought into, to your point, the simple things, like making the pita very good. Their cocktails are also great. I'm always very comfy there, the way they've set it up. So when you're in the old market, obviously it can be a little crowded, which is great. You love to see people downtown enjoying that part of the city. But also when you get into Cleo, you settle right in and have a great meal. There's laughter in the air, it seems like there. Everyone's having a great time and eating good food. So that's a win-win. But I also, if we're, when you ask me about my favorite spot in Omaha, I probably at this point have to say it's Yoshitomo. Which, gets us a little bit outside of North Downtown or downtown Omaha, but I think when I have people come to town, I tell them we're going to go have sushi. I know we're in Nebraska. It's going to change your life. And every time, I'm happy to say I'm correct.
It is like an oxymoron to think that you would, in the smack dab middle of the country, that you would be able to get great fish and sushi here. And Chef David Utterback absolutely crushes it every single time. Yeah, Yoshitomo is probably a good 15-minute drive from downtown.
Sure.
More with traffic. Doesn't matter.
Worth it.
1,000% worth it. This dude is an absolute master. Like, to tell you how respected he is at his craft, restaurants in Japan invite him out to Japan to host like pop-up dinners at their restaurant. Like, that's unheard of for a Japanese restaurant to reach out to someone in Omaha and be like, come serve food at my place. You do it as good or better than I do. Like, that's ridiculous, but that's the level of food we're talking about at Yoshitomo.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's because, if it's and maybe it's all the things. It's the quality of the food that he secures. It's the carefulness with which each roll or sashimi or small or large plate is prepared, the ingredients that go into it. And it seems that he makes routine trips to Japan either way, right? Is it to either brush up on knowledge or just to stay current on what it is that, the cultural food trends are that he brings back to Omaha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing that I love about Yoshitomo is you can get as simple or as playful as you want, and you're going to have a great meal. So if you just want sashimi or nigiri that's going to knock your socks off, he'll get you a piece of fatty tuna on just the best sticky rice that you'll have, and you can just have little pieces of that all night long. Or he's just such a creative chef, and he does things that other people don't think about. So like one of his most famous dishes is this toast called Hama toast.
Oh my gosh, the way a Hama toast changed my life. I joke that I would like a Hama loaf.
Yes, right. You just want to order piece after piece after piece of that. Or I remember there was a time my wife and I went, and he had a dish on the menu. It was called carbonara.
Oh,
and it was his version of carbonara, but instead of using like pasta noodles, he used scallops.
Yeah.
And it like cut the scallops into strips. It was ridiculous in all the right ways. So like, this is a place where you can go and you can just have amazing seafood if that's what you want, or you can have your mind blown by some crazy things that no other chef is willing to try.
I'm so glad you said Hama toast. Just thinking about it almost brings tears to my eyes because of how incredible it's a little piece of sourdough bread and like brown butter with fish. Oh my gosh. And again, I think that you hear the description and you're curious if that could be as incredible as we're saying, and we're telling you this is not an exaggeration. If you are at Yoshitomo, you absolutely must try this dish. Yeah.
And I don't want to spend too much time on this dish, but it is so good. It's hot.
Worth every minute.
It's hot and cold because the bread is hot, the fish is cold, and it's just like you bite it. The first time you bite into it, you're just like, this is weird. Yeah. But it's so good.
He knew what he was doing.
6 more of them.
He knew what he was doing with that. And when you go there, the wait staff always has a great recommendation for you too. I want to try something new, and they're like, "Well, have you tried this piece of sashimi yet?" And I will tell you, some of those pieces have made their way into my regular rotation too. So going back to your initial qualifiers, Yoshitomo absolutely checks that list. But you're right, there are so many other great places in Omaha. Now that we're driving, we're comfortable with like maybe a short commute from the ballpark. What else would you recommend that people try if they're visiting Omaha?
Gotta give a shout out to Dante. I think that's Omaha's premier Italian spot. It's a little bit more Westo, but I mean they've got this giant wood-fired oven that just magic comes out of. So they make Neapolitan-style pizzas that are unbelievable. The background on my phone right now is a pizza from Dante.
That's how inspirational you find it. Yeah.
Yes, it is so memorable. It is so delicious. But they do great pasta. Yeah. They have as good of anyone in Omaha for wine selection, and just very
important in a pizza place.
Yes, very knowledgeable. That's the word I'm looking for. Sommeliers. You're just gonna go and have a good time. Like if you want Italian food or Neapolitan style pizza, to me that is the place. Yeah. Have you been?
It's been a while since I've been to Dante, but your description of it is inspiring me to go back because I think I had been to a brunch there, which, of course, if you're going to a ball game, that could be a good option for you, too. But their pizzas also continue to make nationally ranking lists for some of the best food that you could have in the country. So there's no secret that they know what they're up to there, too.
And you talk about how Chef David Utterback at Yoshitomo frequently goes back to Japan to brush up on his techniques. The chef at Dante, Nick Strawhecker, he basically has a citizenship in Italy. He's going back and forth so often. So
what a rough life. Yes. Yeah.
I know. Every time I talk to him, I feel like he's like, I just got back from Italy. And I'm like,
darn,
man,
that's too bad. Yeah.
You live a hard life. But that just tells you that he's he's keeping up on all the trends. He knows what's going on. One other place that I want to give a shout out to, because Omaha we're known as a meat city, but a lot of people just think of steaks and steakhouses, and we do have great steakhouses. Don't get me wrong on that. But I want to give a shout out to a different kind of meat, and that's barbecue. So sure. Jay's Smokehouse is one of my favorite barbecue spots. They just do incredible smoked meats. They do barbecue tacos, which are really good and unique. And their smash burger, to me, is, if it's not Omaha's best, it's right up there. So I want to give a shout out to them as well. But I also want to give some space to you. Where are some other than Yoshitomo? Obviously, we're sending people to Yoshitomo. Where else around Omaha?
Every time I have a visitor, and they just, like I said, they Yoshitomo continues to blow minds. But also, I love to take people to an Omaha classic spot, which, of course, to me is La Casa. There is something very, again, not old school charm in there, but it has been mostly unchanged, I think, for the past several years, both in the recipes that they serve, which their pizza is kind of a biscuit base. Is that the right way to talk about it?
Actually, that's very accurate. It's very buttery, crispy base. It's different than any other one in Omaha, but I agree. I really like it as well.
There's something about being in there that feels wonderful too, and like you're in Omaha of years past.
Yes.
But you also know you're going to go there and have a lovely meal, an Aperol Spritz. It's a great place to take somebody if you want to show them a little bit of what Omaha's about. That's not steakhouses, which, are equally important. We know this is a steak-forward state and city, but it gives you a little bit of extra perspective about what it is that Omaha has to offer, and speaks, I think, to the diverse foodie scene that we have cultivating here.
Yeah.
So I love La Casa, and it doesn't hurt that it's also walking distance from my home, too, which is a great part of being in some of these little neighborhoods as well, that no matter where you land, if you're in a hotel or an Airbnb towards the eastern part of the city, you most assuredly are walking distance to someplace fabulous. Same with Lyle's. I love Lyle's Pizza. It was fun to watch that convert from its old previous space into something new and exciting that the neighborhood could enjoy. And I think Omaha does a lovely job of that too. We find historic spaces that we can turn into something new and exciting, and people receive it with open arms. And now that you got me talking about it, I have to give a shout out to Saffron and Exarban, which is doing wonderful Indian food. Again, you're in Omaha, so maybe you wouldn't think that that's something that would be available to you, but the way that they've converted that restaurant into something beautiful and complemented with excellent food and a lovely wait staff, I have never had anything less than a 10 out of 10 meal at Saffron as well.
And again, a beautiful atmosphere,
and a patio.
And a fantastic patio. Yeah, that is the type of place where I can see you go to a game, you want to just keep the night going with beautiful Omaha weather. You go out, sit on that patio, have a couple drinks, have an excellent meal. And Saffron, I want to give a shout out to two places, Saffron and Kenara. A lot of people are like, I don't know if I like Indian food. That sounds a little out there. Indian food is delicious, and if you want an introduction, Saffron and Kenara are places where if someone doesn't like Indian food or they don't know if they like it, you take them there, and then they're like, yes, I love Indian food. Now I know.
Yeah, and a judgment-free zone, too, right? I feel like I've walked in and said, I don't know exactly what I'll like, and they are happy to give you recommendations, and turns out every time the recommendations are great.
Absolutely, yes.
No, excellent recommendations, too. Is there any place else, Dan, that people absolutely must hit while they're in Omaha? Or, you know what, a better question yet is there any place so good that you almost don't want to talk about it or don't want people to know?
See, that doesn't exist for me because...
you're like, I talk about it, yeah.
Yes, that's my role to talk about these places. I mean, yes, there are a lot where I'm just like, I do kind of want to keep them my secret because it's like, it's my spot and I don't want it to get packed.
I know, yeah.
But these people they're business owners. They put their lives into this, and I want their hard work to be rewarded. So if a restaurant is putting out amazing food, I'm going to sound the sirens and I'm going to let people know about it, because if I don't know if that restaurant's going to be around in a year or 2 years. They need customers. So I'm going to let people know that those places are amazing and they should go visit them. Yeah.
Is there any place that you can think of that you've driven by and looks very unassuming, but when you've stepped inside, you've been blown away by the food or experience? You've made this great point in the past too, where sometimes in Omaha, the outside of a place can be quite deceiving, but then when you get into a spot, you're just amazed at the food or offerings that seem to be there.
Yeah, and honestly, those are some of my favorite restaurants. It looks like absolutely nothing on the outside. You'd never think to stop in, but somebody tells you got to go there, and then you go, and you're just like, oh, now I want to tell everyone about this. Yeah. There are a lot of them. There's one specifically that I want to shout out. It's called Avalos Latin Market. And you would never be able to find it on your own. It's like on the backside of a strip mall, but the Latin food, so tacos, burritos, enchiladas, quesadilla coming out of this place is unreal. Like, I cannot tell you how good it is. Their Cuban sandwich, I could eat 5 days a week and never get sick of it. And it is so legit. Avalos Latin Market. It's like it's in the name. It's kind of a market. So it's like half grocery store, half restaurant. They've just got a deli in the back where they serve the food from. Yeah. But every time I go there, I mean, tamales, nachos, chicharrones, like everything is just hit.
Yeah, and this is a selfish question because I'm like, I need a recommendation too of a place tucked away that Dan Hoppen knows about that I also need to venture to.
And it's right by Hurrdat. It's right by our workplace. Like how handy. You could walk there if you wanted to. So
well, that's a little dangerous to know, isn't it?
It's very dangerous, but in a good way.
In a good way, and I also am curious your insight too. We've talked about a lot of places with different global influences that can be found throughout Omaha. But when you think about Omaha's foodie scene, what do you think is the kind of foundation or the great connector in defining what it is that we're doing in Omaha?
See, that's really interesting because I don't know if I've tried to think about this before, and I don't know if I have a great answer.
And maybe that's the beauty of it too, is it's still finding itself and being so influenced by wonderful folks that seem to find their way into our community.
Well, yeah, I think we're so diverse, and I think we owe a lot of that to Metro Community College because that community college has one of the better culinary programs in America. So a lot of different people are coming to Omaha to go to school there, and then some of them go back, to where they came from or they venture out, but some just stay here.
Yeah.
And they say, you know what, I want to open a great sushi spot in Omaha. I'm going to try and do that. Or nobody's doing Nepalese dumplings here in Omaha. I'm going to open that type of spot. So I think a lot of people, if they were to answer that question, were say Omaha's a steakhouse town, or Omaha does burgers, Omaha does corn. And we certainly have great steakhouses and great burger joints.
Definitely.
But I think if you look at Omaha holistically, you will find incredible Italian restaurants, Indian restaurants, barbecue. I mean, you name it, you can find basically any cuisine here and someone who is throwing their heart into it and doing it really well.
Yeah, that's a good point and very insightful too, just because you've had the opportunity to visit a lot of these places, enjoy some of their food. So I think that is kind of the hard part, right, is landing on the exact word to describe the special movement that's happening here in Omaha, but also acknowledging that it is influenced by so many incredible people who are in our community and opening restaurants that will surely keep Restaurant Hoppin' in business for years to come.
Trust me, the thing that I always tell people is I've got a list of places in my phone that I need to visit, and it always gets longer faster than it gets shorter. There are more places popping up all the time. I've got favorites that I need to get back to. Yeah. It's a beautiful hobby to have.
I was going to say, not a bad gig to have.
No.
So you want recommendations. So you heard it here first. Keep your recommendations coming to Dan.
Yes,
because
always.
He's going to try them.
Always.
And there is the risk that he may disagree with you, but mostly it seems like you're yet to have a terrible meal in this city. So
it happens every once in a while, but we don't need to talk about those. We're going to focus on the positive ones. That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely. Dan, thank you so much for your insight on this and for your sharing your wisdom with visitors. It's obviously something where when you come to Omaha, we want to be able to put our best foot forward and let people enjoy all it is that we have to offer. So of course, tune into Restaurant Hoppin' from Dan Hoppen on Hurrdat 1 for more restaurant recommendations. And keep following Hurrdat 1's Beyond the Ballpark content for more tips and tricks and insight for this year's Men's College World Series.